Shinobi no entertainer, Ninnin comic. Yay!
Hello YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the P-Bandai exclusive or P-Bandai exclusive SHF Kamen Rider Build Ninnin comic form, or for those who like it simple, Ninja comic form. Now, first of all, I would like to mention, yes, I actually bought a new mic, and it's currently attached to my camera. Now, currently I have the mic cover on, not as in the blocking, but the actual like fluffy material that you attach to the mic. That is currently attached to it, but if you think that it could be a little bit louder or I don't need to attach that, do let me know while watching this video. Now, so once this figure was announced, I was really surprised to see a alternative form of the main character Rider to come out as an SHF after the main series has ended, because as far as I know, that usually doesn't happen in most cases, and we barely get like alternative forms. Now, what I mean by alternative forms is basically like it's not a power-up form, but more of a different form. It's a different form that has a different fighting style. So basically, when you put that into the Gundam logic, basically, if we have an L striker, if we have the strike Gundam using the L strike pack, this is basically the strike Gundam now changing from L strike to sword strike. So it's not more powerful, but it has a different way of fighting. So that's the best way I could explain it. Now, once again, I was really surprised to see this announced, but once again, a lot of people were also giving some really good reasons why this was being announced, because being released. Because number one, some people say that this was the form that was used the most in terms of this rider, other than the main base form. And number two is that at the end of the series, basically this might consider to be a spoiler, but oh well, the main character's father shows up around the end of the series and starts like kind of bothering them at first, but later he makes sense what he does. But once he lost the access to the base form, he started using this form more often. So some people say that they wanted to make a product that represents that character, so they made this form. But either way, I'm really happy to see this, because Kamen Rider Build was definitely one of my favorite series, and number two, I was really hoping to see at least one alternative form in SHF Kamen Rider figure art. So I'm really happy that happened, because all we got so far were only upgraded forms for the main character. So yeah. Anyway, let's get on to the review. So as usual, let's go over the components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the figure itself. Currently I gave it the fist hands, and here is what you're supposed to get. So hand wise, we get a good number of set of hands. So except for this one, these are basically repeats. So number one, we have a multi-purpose hand. Oops. We have a multi-purpose hand that will hold the weapon. Here we have a very ninja-esque ninja-esque style hand. So definitely a typical ninja style hand pose. And then we get your typical open style hand, and then we get his signature pose hands, but we actually get one for each left and right. So these ones are repeat, and then here we have this one which has a really round hole in it. This is basically the hand meant for the handle for the belt. So yeah, just to be clear, that hand has been a staple thing from past figures, so nothing too different. And then we get the main weapon. So this weapon is only accessed when you transform into this form, or maybe something like the sparkling form, which does have access to all weapons. So this one is called the what was it called again? Yeah, the Yonkoma ninpoutou. So Yonkoma, so Yon, as I believe, is number 4 in Japanese. So if you try to search this weapon, it will actually have literally the number 4. So 4 koma ninpoutou. So in the series, they don't call it 4, they call it in the Japanese way. So this is basically a sword, but this is not your typical style of a sword where you would be slashing your enemies right away with this. This is actually more of a, well, it is a sword, but has multiple functions. So we have these 4 panels here. So as you can see, as the name would imply from this form being Ninja Comic, you actually use these 2 bottles, the Ninja and then the comic bottle, and you would insert it into the belt, and you would have access to this form. So each panel line represents like basically a function or a attack style. So number one, we have the shadow clone. I'm not gonna go. I didn't memorize all the correct terms, but I'll be explaining like what these are. So basically, what they do if you choose them. So if you choose the first panel while using this weapon, you'll basically be able to do the shadow clone ninjutsu kind of thing. So you can kind of clone yourself. Number two is that you get the access to the fire element. So you can kind of, I believe if he uses this, the most common case we saw this is that this blade would become a sword blade and he would be slashing it around. Number three is, I believe, is the least one he used in the overall series. Is basically you have access to the wind element, so you can basically, you know, wind powers. And then the last one is basically a smoke screen effect, so you can use it for stealth or basically to run away. So yeah, it's a very interesting weapon. These are actually, I'm not sure if these are actually stickers. But yeah, these were already applied like these. So yeah, this is the way how you get it from the right out of the box. They did a really good job on the design and coloring. And on the other side, it's black. I'm not sure if the DX toy was like this as well, but yeah. Alright, so we've seen the basic weapons. Now let's look at the figure itself. Now once again, I have a new mic, so do let me know if the mic is working properly or if there's still that buzz noise that some people were mentioning. Alright, so let's look at the head. Definitely loving the head design. The yellow and purple actually really goes very well with each other. I did not expect yellow and purple to be a very good color. So each of them are pretty pointy. Now I don't think they are that fragile, but once again, if I would have to point out a part that would break easily among the figure, I think it would be these parts as well. So don't drop it, don't try to like poke anybody with these as well. So yeah, head wise, you still have your typical SHF style articulation. You can go down that much, up that much, and then 360 seems a bit possible if I force it. So yeah, once again, inside is a human, so yeah, I don't think humans can do that. Now each arm has a different shoulder armor, but in general the main articulation should be the same. So let's see of this side. So this one only goes about 90 degrees, the other arm goes also about 90 degrees, so each of the arms are pretty much the same articulation. Each of them has a shoulder armor, but this one is much more built onto the shoulder as well, but still has your typical ball jointed, clip style connection here. Technically it is both, so you connect depending on where the joint is, that there's a ball joint on the end, and then you clip it onto the here. So yeah, that popped out a little bit more easier than I expected, but still okay. And then here we have another shoulder armor here. It pretty much works exactly the same. Now one thing I would like to mention is that we still have your 360 bend here, and then despite how these shoulder armors look like, the arm entirely can go 360, and then the hands are still your typical SHF style hands where the ball joint is on the arm and then the hole is on the hand. Now for those who are kind of concerned about this part, this actually is supposed to be like a pen design here because of comic. For those who are wondering, yes, what they did is actually really well concerned, is that you can actually flip this part up, so you should have zero issues like trying to swap out hands, and then you can even if you try to hold the weapon with this side of the hand, there is no problem because of this gimmick here. So yeah, they thought this through pretty well. And body wise, you still have your typical body articulation, so you have an ab crunch, you can go side to side, and then 360 twist not possible on the top, even on the bottom, because once again the belt and there are certain parts that are blocking the way because of the shape wise. And one thing, there's something new onto this figure is this: you actually get a scarf. Now I would like to point out right out of the box, the scarf was actually pretty well protected. So basically, if you open the box, you pull out the figure, this scarf or cape part was actually covered like this. So yeah, they really wanted to make sure nothing really gets damaged onto this figure. And this actually moves pretty well. You can go up that much or a little bit more if you can, and then down as far as the back goes, and you can move them side to side. Now I'm not sure if this goes 360. I tried doing that, but it doesn't really work that way. So but you can, with this amount of articulation, you can pretty much make this pretty look natural in any pose. So really impressed by this, and I wasn't even aware if they were going to do this or not. Now once again, let's get the belt. Once again, they did a really good job on the belt, and no issues here, because back in the past there was a certain figure which I actually own, had a issue mold here because they actually used a different design here, which is wrong, because there was a different rider with a different belt that actually has the same shape format but different, overall color and design. So there was a mix-up here in the past, but no problems here. And we have all the bottles here, the purple and yellow one, Ninja Comic. They are also, you are able to take them out. I've shown that in the past. And then here we have these parts, which some people claim that they can actually attach the bottle here. I've done everything trying to slap bottles on here, and they do not work. So yeah. And for those who are watching for the first time, yes, they do actually, the handle does rotate. Alright, and then the legs now, on the legs, I'm going to be honest, this was also kind of a hassle to deal with because it would sometimes get in the way with the legs. But now we have this ninja armor that's popping on the bottom, which even makes it more a bit of a hassle to deal with. So moving to the side, you are technically able to do that, but I'm not really sure how long these materials will last every time I do this. So I'm going to show you guys on the other side of the leg that doesn't have anything. So you can go to the side relatively okay, but not exactly a 90-degree bend here. So of course, if you want to go 90 degrees, at that point you need to use both legs to go that much. So yeah, doing a side kick is not exactly ideal, but still a spread is possible, but not the Jabi de Hong level of spread. And then you do have your typical side swivel going on here. And then bend wise, we have a nice bend going on here that shows the knee. And yeah, and they did a really good job on, well, this side of the leg is pretty much your typical Kamen Rider Build leg, but in yellow. But on this side, they actually did a really good job on doing that ninja-esque style, leg design. So gotta give them credit that. And each side of feet does have a different design here, just to give you guys an idea. But still, each feet has the same articulation where you can rotate them 360. And then you have a nice forward and backward movement and a nice pivot with a toe bend. So articulation wise, other than the leg spread, you have pretty much what you expect from a standard modern SHF Kamen Rider figure. Now I guess there's only one thing left to show, and that's the weapon demonstration. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have a basic pose for when it comes to a ninja style character. Now I would have replicated a certain scene that was actually one of the promo pictures online, but I am lacking a certain figure to do that. So oh well, but still, hopefully someday. So once again, I gave it the weapon, the Yonkoma ninpoutou onto the right arm, and then I gave the ninja style hand onto the left arm. So once again, if you want to do it the other way around, that is possible because you do have all the hands to do that, and each arm doesn't have any limitations. But once again, I like the fact that you have control on the back, the scarf that's on the back, or cape, whatever you call it these days. So it does really give you that extra nice play value to that. Now I am holding the weapon about upside down because in the end of the series, the main character's father, who uses this form, would carry it like this. But what I also like about that is that you are capable of holding this weapon upside down. Mostly because I've in the past, like certain figures who have swords, and I've tried to do it the other way around, and they wouldn't really work that well. But this one, I have zero problems holding it like this, and yeah, it definitely looks cool. For those who are wondering, yes, if you want to, you are able to hold it like this, like a typical sword. If you want to do that, that is also your choice. So it's really up to you. And that's pretty much it for the review. So once again, I am a big fan of Kamen Rider Build. So if Bandai decides to just randomly release another alternative form, like, I don't know, like Hawk Gatling, or Pirate Train, or Dragon Lock, or Lock Dragon, I am into that. So Key Dragon, yeah, sorry about that. I was thinking about the actual design of the bottle, but still, if Key Dragon, like Pirate Train, or once again, I will be buying that if they do. But once again, that's just really hoping. But I know at this point they should. I think they're done milking this mold at the same time. So who knows? But still, once again, this was the review of the P-Bandai exclusive SHF Kamen Rider Build Ninja comic form, or Ninnin comic form. Once again, if you're a big fan of Kamen Rider Build and if you want to finish your collection, this is a must if you ask me. And once again, it's a very rare case that we actually get an alternative form of a certain rider, and that's actually pretty cool and useful because Back in the past, the ones that we would get alternative forms, I do have some questions on their decisions of making those forms, especially Kamen Rider Zeo, the ones from Kamen Rider Zeo, because those were kind of questionable. But still, I'm really happy about this figure. I would love to see more if they have any plans. But anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was a review of the SHF Kamen Rider Build Ninja comic form. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave them comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. And before I end this video off, do give me some comments about the sound quality. Until then, see you guys next time.